hopefully in 10 seconds, our little intro will kick right off. Let's see what happens.
Yes, sir.
All things unexplained. There you are, Mr. J, show military consultant, joining me tonight. So we're here tonight because we got some breaking UFO news. Today is Monday, May 23rd, 2022. Yesterday, May 22nd, Sunday, 2022. Jeremy Corbell went on the, ironically enough, the Unexplained show with Howard Hughes. Not the Howard Hughes that made that big blimp, I don't think, but with Howard Hughes, a British show, if I am not mistaken, and he had some truly startling UFO revelations for Howard on the Unexplained. Mr. J knows that Jeremy Corbell, he's been in the news a lot last few years with UFO, UAP stuff. He produced a tremendous documentary on Bob Lazar. Mr. J and I both watched that. And not only that, but Jeremy Corbell is responsible for a lot of the UAP videos from the military that have been released recently. So, Jeremy Corbell, big on the UFO scene here last few years. Let's hear, Mr. J, let's hear what he told Howard Hughes yesterday, Sunday, May 22nd, 2022, on the Unexplained show. Let me find that clip. Here he is.
I will tell you this, Howard, and this is fact. I have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
Attempted shoot downs as recently, this is important, as last Friday.
Correct. And it happens on a weekly, if not daily basis. So you have to understand, we are protecting ground troops. So in certain areas of the world. So certain things that come in proximity to those ground troops, it is just
they're treated as hostile. Do we, because time is limited, do they fire back? Have they ever fired back?
That's we'll talk about. I'm going to pass on that question at this moment. But no, there's no aggressive.
That means yes, doesn't it?
Interesting answer.
What?
That means yes, doesn't
That's
it?
right.
No. I will say that there's no overt aggressive action that seems to be taken towards us. It seems more of an observational and also another type of program.
Which screams as we come into the last seconds of this, Jeremy, and thank you for helping me tonight again. It screams all over it that this is not some power on Earth. This is some power that wants to demonstrate it has a technology, is not going to, if it was going to engage us, it would have engaged us by now.
Mr. J, Jeremy Corbell, he carries a lot of weight. You know, he really is more dependable in the UFO world than the Pentagon officials.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, he's one of those guys that will actually report things that he does find out instead of trying to brush it under the rug or, oh, it was a weather balloon. But he's actually going out there and finding evidence, true evidence, and releasing it to the world.
Absolutely. Just shocking revelation, saying to Howard Hughes on the Unexplained yesterday that he has videos, he has proof, he has evidence that our military is firing, is engaging in combat on a regular basis with these UFOs, UAPs, that he has proof it even happened last Friday. One thing I wanted to ask you, Mr. J, he talked about, hey, we're protecting ground troops. I mean, does that sound right to you? A craft in restricted airspace above our ground troops, would we use hostile force on such a thing?
Yeah. I mean, well, I know that our Air Force and a lot of our black projects are designed to protect a lot of our troops that are on the ground. And I would say, for especially in the terms of protecting guys that are going in and kicking in doors and stuff like that.
Okay, well, I tell you one thing that struck me as curious from the UFO congressional hearing recently, Mr. J, is the fact the Pentagon officials told us that we have unidentified craft engaging with our military Navy fighter pilots in restricted airspace, but they said we have not fired anything at these craft. Does that ring true to you, that we could be engaging in craft that are not communicating with us whatsoever in restricted airspace, and that we would not be at some point taking
Well,
hostile action?
two things. One, I think if it was a threat and a serious threat and they didn't know anything about it, they would have engaged it with everything that they've got. And secondly, especially in a restricted area, they know what's going on in every inch and aspect of their restricted areas. And the only way I think that they wouldn't know is, one, it is a black file object, or two, it's from another dimension.
Right. And one interesting thing I thought from this video, or Jeremy Corbell's appearance on the Unexplained with Howard Hughes, he actually, if I'm not mistaken, he said these videos he's got of us firing on these craft, they're Air Force. And so far to date, as far as I know, every revelation has been from the Navy. And so, one of our theories has been all along that it's possible that these are other branches of the military that are compartmentalizing or hiding or testing against other branches that don't know about it, right? Well, to me, this goes a long way toward dispelling that. If this is Air Force he's talking about, then all of a sudden we've got the Air Force involved, and the Navy. It's looking less and less likely, right, that it's our own military.
You're right. And, it's hard to explain a lot of the videos that we are seeing, meaning that, especially the Tic Tac video. I mean, 1 minute it's just looks like it's hovering, and the next minute they can't even keep up with it.
Right.
And it's really hard to explain without better quality of video, and um, and also, to go back to what you were saying about the Air Force and the Navy, the one way to test an object out, or a plane out, or UAP, whatever, would be to test the other branches of the military.
Right.
By not telling them anything at all.
But I feel like this seems to contradict that, because I just can't fathom, can you, that our branches would do that to the point where we would literally be firing on them?
And that's a good question to ask the G-men,
Tell me, because it's an interesting question.
Well, if they've been using the words national security, the best interest of national security, a lot here in these last 30 and 40 years. So, and it very well could be, technology that they have gotten from, other species that are in, what do they say?
Reverse engineered.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, absolutely. Just like in the Day After Roswell, that I've been telling you about, that I've been checking out, and he claims a lot of our current military technology is just direct result of reverse engineering. But, man, it makes you wonder, maybe we reverse engineered to the point where we really upset wherever it came from, and now they're trying to tell us something.
Yeah, to say, hey, you can't have this technology. You can't. You don't know what to really do with it other
Right.
than destroy yourselves.
Oh yeah. Well, Mr. J, Jeremy Corbell says there's a lot more coming. He told this yesterday, May 22nd, 2022, to Howard Hughes on the Unexplained. He revealed, hey, I've got videos of UFOs being fired upon by our military. It makes you wonder, the Pentagon officials in the historic congressional hearing on UFOs the other day, they were asked directly, one, have we fired on UFOs? No, they said. No, we have not. Do you think it's
Yeah.
possible, they're just using the typical doublespeak, meaning, hey, I represent the Navy. The Navy hasn't fired on UFOs, but that doesn't mean the Air Force hasn't. Do you think they would go
Well,
that route, or they would just blatantly lie, or they're using plausible deniability here?
I'd say both. I would say both, and that they always kept using in that hearing. They always kept saying, well, that would belong into the other bin. They
Right.
kept referring to the other a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But notice how they never said anything. They had a lot of intelligence agencies in there, but they didn't have the CIA.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Something else. A lot of people believe we recovered alien technology and alien craft in Roswell. If we did, that was brought down by something. Some people believe a combination of the weather and our military. But now you just think how much our military has advanced since then. Doesn't it seem reasonable to believe that if we are actively engaging UFOs so often that we probably have brought some down at this point?
Oh, absolutely. And then here's something else to ponder upon. Why now all of a sudden is there a new branch of service, the
That,
Space Force?
that's right. You know what else? At the congressional hearing on UFOs, the Pentagon officials were also directly asked, do we have possession of any unknown crafts? No, they said, no, we do not. But yet it seems like this would be very likely. Again, I go back to the compartmentalization. Maybe it's no. So far as I know, in my limited capacity of knowing, of the way they keep things away from each other, that I don't know about it. So the answer is no, or maybe it's no, the Navy doesn't, but maybe the Air Force does. I mean, maybe it's that,
Right.
or again, are they just lying to us?
Well, yeah, of course they're going to lie to us to protect us, so to speak. But in the Air Force, in the Army, in the Navy, you're always taught to stay in your lane, mind your
Yes.
own business.
That
And that's pretty much what they're doing.
that's what I wanted to ask you, Mr. J. We've all heard of need to know basis, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it even considered a lie? Like you and I, we're not on a need to know basis. If a military member of high ranking tells me and you anything, is it even a lie since we're not on need to know basis? Do they even look at it that way?
No, they know pretty much. A lot of the a lot of it is okay. The guys upstairs or the top brass, they know how everything is ran. But then there's other guys that are really running the show. So, for instance, Project Blue Book. We thought that Dr. Heineke and his Captain Quinn were running the show, but they had to answer to somebody. And
Yes.
then those guys had to answer to somebody, and it went even over the president's head. Now, I thought the president was the one that ran the entire country.
Right.
Well,
And you know how shocking that at the congressional hearing on UFOs, they brought up Roswell. They had the gall to bring up Roswell and not follow up on it in any way whatsoever. That just seemed like a huge tease right there. But
a huge tease, and also they kept saying stuff like, "Well, we'll bring that up in our confidential hearing behind closed doors." There was a lot of behind closed doors. Oh, I'll bring that up in writing. This isn't the time in the public setting to let you know about anything. Well, look at what they did. I think was that the Montana one that we were
yes.
talking about.
Oh yeah, the ICBMs that went offline.
Yes, sir.
But they acted like they didn't have a clue. So isn't it interesting, Mr. J, how Jeremy Corbell, now along with George Knapp, host of Coast to Coast AM, they brought out this Bob Lazar information. They brought out all these recent UFO videos and revelations, which the military has now admitted are true. These are facts. Isn't it interesting how these are the go-to sources of information for the public now? They are more trusted and bring us more information than our own government and military officials.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how they're getting that information, really. And what was the word you just used? Composable deniability. So if something is right, they'll take all the credit for it. But if something is wrong, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's not on me."
Yes.
So
Well, that's why this revelation that Jeremy Corbell had with Howard Hughes on the Unexplained yesterday, you got to give it, a lot of consideration that he's telling the truth here, because you know what? He's been solid so far on
oh,
delivering
absolutely.
everything he's talked about, he's brought to us. Anonymous Brother is listening to the show. He comments with some alien emojis and some little asteroid things there. Anonymous Brother, welcome to the show. So, again, shocking revelations yesterday from Jeremy Corbell on the Unexplained. He brought this up May 22nd, 2022, Sunday, that he has evidence our military is firing on a regular basis on UFOs, UAPs. Startling, shocking. I don't really know how to process it. Last thought, Mr. J, what exactly do you make of this? What's your takeaway?
My takeaway is I think there's a lot more to come. I think that he is trying to get every bit of evidence so the government cannot deny this anymore. And when he releases it, everything that he's got, it's going to be mind blowing.
I think you're right. All we can do now is stay tuned. Well, Mr. J, thanks for joining me tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Good night, everybody.